Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another Will's Health video. And now we're going to talk about your chronic bloating. And I don't know how long this video is, but let's say it's 12 minutes. Give me 12 minutes and I will fix your chronic bloating. And we're going to talk about what I've made called the bloating matrix. Just before we get into that, though, who am I? If you don't know who I am, my name is Will. I help people significantly improve IBS symptoms in 12 weeks using my multi-layered pillared system. Now, why should you listen to me? Because that was exactly where I was. I had IBS, gut health issues. Now, if you want, you can pause the video and read all my symptoms, but I've said this many times, so I'm not going to go over it again, but you can have a little quick look if you are new around here. And I help people on social media do the same things in which I did to heal my IBS and improve my gut health. Now, I am very lucky to be able to help many other people around the world, people from the UK, Ireland, Dubai, Australia, USA. I've helped people everywhere, had some great success in teaching them the main pillars, understands that you need a multi-layered approach when it comes to IBS and gut health, so I can really make their health simple and effective. And as I say, I've seen some great results coming from that as well, and some great messages. And again, if you want to learn more about this side of things and the testimonials, then just go to my Instagram, which I'll leave in the link below. Now, I don't want to dwell on this too much. I actually want to get into learning. I want to, tell you guys what you might need to look into if you actually want to fix your bloating. Now, one of the most common questions I get when I talk about gut health and IBS and health all the time is, but how do I fix bloating? Now, it's a very valid question. A lot of people are dealing with it. In fact, it is the second most common symptom people deal with IBS after pain. So pain, bloating, and abnormal stools is the most common pains that people experience. So let's talk about bloating. Okay. Now, I want to introduce the bloating matrix to you guys. This is something that I've made personally myself. I've designed myself, and I want to share it with you to make your process a little bit easier. Now, I don't know if you guys are new around here, but I always work on a multi-layered pillared framework. My philosophy is that you need to kind of check these off if you want to have good gut health, and doing it in a systematic way and doing it holistically. It's very hard that if you do all this, you'll get bad gut health, but we're just going to focus specifically on the bloating side of things. Okay. So we've got food sensitivities and reactions, gut dysfunction, gut microbiome and dysbiosis, and nervous system and stress. Now, I believe that if there's an issue with any of these four areas, then you may experience bloating. And I believe that you won't get relief from bloating until all these areas are in accordance. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean you have to do things for every single one, but you definitely have to figure out what is the one that's causing you issues. All right. Because for so long, I thought that it was just the food that I was eating. Let me get my pen here. It was just the food that I was eating that was causing bloating. You might be in a position where you've removed high lactose dairy, you've done a low FODMAP, you've removed. So this is a protein in gluten. So let's just say you've removed the gluten and the main things that people tell you to kind of avoid. Now that's probably a good start, and some people can get relief from that. But if you're still experiencing bloating, you need to go a little bit deeper. And this was exactly the case for me back in 2022, right? I was eating eggs and rice and I was still getting bloated. And in my mind, I was just like, how the hell does this even work? Like, the food that I'm eating, it's the simplest food in the world, and I'm still getting bloating. And that what has encouraged me to go a little bit deeper and think, okay, what actually is going on here? What else do I need to do beyond the food aspect? Now, if you haven't done this food aspect yet, I would encourage you to maybe play around with some foods. Maybe do a low FODMAP or elimination diet. This isn't going to be long term. This is just to see where you're at. Maybe removing some foods, you remove all bloating. It's probably not going to be the case, but I would definitely just see, if I'm eating basic foods, or what foods is it more that's causing bloating. Just play around with that, and then you can kind of see what's going on here, and you can almost tick this off, because if you're eating let's say you're eating a very bland low FODMAP diet and you're still getting bloating, then you've got this in accordance, and you need to do other things as well. Okay. And then the next one is going to be gut dysfunction. Now, this is like some physical things that's going wrong with your digestion. Now, this can include low HCl, stands for low hydrochloric acid. This is the stomach acid. All right. This is something that I never thought about that would affect my gut health, but you have to have, acidic stomach. You need to have a pH of 1 to 3, and it needs to be sufficient. You need sufficient stomach acid if you want to break down your food. If not, it's going to sit there, it's going to ferment, it's going to cause gas, it's going to cause bloating. So it needs to be broken down properly. Of course, this is going to include your enzymes. This is going to include your bile flow, which is from your liver. All these things are required to break down your food and not to cause bloating. So we need to make sure this is in accordance as well. And of course, a leaky gut. If you guys don't know about leaky gut, I'm going to make a whole video about leaky gut and what you can do. I have protocols on my TikTok for leaky gut. But for now, just understand that that is something that could cause bloating. And it wasn't until I specifically did this was when I stopped getting bloating. Okay. Now, you might ask, well, how do I know if I've gut dysfunction? How do I know if I've leaky gut? How do I know? Now, it gets a little bit complicated, and I don't want to overcomplicate this video for you guys. Oftentimes, sometimes just giving you the solution and seeing if it works could be the most beneficial answer. Like, if you're like, oh, I don't know if low stomach acid is a thing, well, why don't we do stuff to improve stomach acid, and then we can see if that's an issue for you. But at the end of the day, at least you can tick that off and say, well, I've done that now. If I'm still getting bloating, at least I know, like, I've kind of ruled an area out. Okay. And if you are looking to do that, then introducing like lemon water, apple cider vinegar, even betaine HCl, which is a pH of 1, very acidic, you could try that and see if it helps you. Do not do this if you have gastritis, for example, and make sure to be cautious if you do have reflux as well. But you could definitely look into that. And my almost philosophy, like, I like to work with people one-on-one because I can then see based off your symptoms what the issue might be. For example, if you bloat very quickly after eating, it's probably going to be a case of low HCl enzymes and bile, which is gut dysfunction. Again, if you're struggling with high fat meals, it might be an issue of your bile, because bile is important for digesting and emulsifying fats. You can see how that works. And if you guys want me to go into more detail, again, I have a whole, like for example, if you wanted me to go in more detail of stomach acid, we could for sure do that, right? Because I have a whole thing going on stomach acid. But just let me know what specifically you want me to go over. So, and then, yeah, I would always do a leaky gut protocol as well, because it's not a case of if you have leaky gut or not. I believe that everyone does. It just depends how severe and how much it is affecting you. I think it's a good idea to do something for leaky gut that will involve using like colostrum and butyrate. These are things that you might have heard of before. Okay. And you can understand how that might cause bloating. Now, going on to the gut microbiome and dysbiosis, again, you might be eating all the right foods, you're using enzymes and stomach acid, but you're still getting bloating. What the hell is going on? Well, it might be an issue with your gut microbiome. Now, this is the bacteria, the trillions and trillions of bacteria that live inside of your stomach. Now, there are three major types of dysbiosis, and dysbiosis just means an imbalance of gut bacteria. Now, I'm not going to write it out because I'm not very good at writing on here, but it's going to include a lack of beneficial bacteria, a lack of diversity, so you need diverse strains, and there's an overgrowth of harmful bacteria. Okay. Now, the most probable reason that you might get dysbiosis, in my opinion, is antibiotics. If at any point in your life you took antibiotics, or you can see that when I took antibiotics, I started getting issues with my gut, I feel as though that is very much interlinked, because it's going to go in and it's going to, it's going to help you in terms of destroying the bacteria that you need to destroy if you have some sort of infection, but it's also going to have a bad offset effect on your beneficial bacteria. It's going to reduce the beneficial, causing dysbiosis. It's going to reduce your diversity, which is going to cause dysbiosis, and it's therefore going to leave an environment which overgrowths are more able to grow. It's going to leave you in a vulnerable position. So taking antibiotics leaves you in a position of getting all three dysbiosis. And this can cause bloating in itself. And dysbiosis is going to include overgrowths like SIBO, like H. pylori, like Candida. And SIBO is a big one that causes bloating, especially if you're getting bloating in this lower abdominal region below the belly button. That could be a sign of SIBO. If you're feeling worse on probiotics, if you're feeling worse on fiber, it could be a sign of SIBO. So again, you could be doing all the right things, but you could have some remnants of SIBO. And there's tests for this. There's different symptoms. If your symptoms align with this, then it can definitely be an indication. But you want to be sorting out dysbiosis. It might be a case of, for example, again, this was something that I was dealing with. I had a lot of antibiotics for having tonsillitis, and I did a test, and it showed that all my beneficial bacteria was extremely low, right? And that clicked in my mind of like, oh, there is more to it than just diet. There's actually something going on deeper here, and that was when I realized I had severe dysbiosis. I didn't have any clear overgrowths. I had some SIBO, I believe, but there was no clear overgrowths, but I was definitely vulnerable to them. So it wasn't until I did some things for my gut microbiome was then I got some relief. Again, if you guys want more detail of how to actually do this, then let me know. But the main thing will just be, getting in some spore-based probiotics. If there's any overgrowths that you're aware of, you need to do some antimicrobial, antifungals to get rid of this. Again, that needs to be in part of like a holistic framework, which you do. You can't just throw random things at it and hope it gets better. This is definitely something to consider. Nervous system and stress. I mean, just before I go into this, all of these things interlink, guys. So if you're having leaky gut, that's going to cause more sensitivities. If you have gut microbiome issues, that's going to cause gut dysfunction like leaky gut. Like, all these factors interlink with each other. They all cause each other. They all interact with each other. So that's why it's important to kind of tick all four things off together as well. Okay, now the fourth thing is going to be your nervous system and stress. Again, I can go into a whole nother video of this, but I'll just leave it here. Like, For example, this is going to majorly affect your gut dysfunction. If you are someone who is in chronic stress, chronic, your nervous system just always on fire, you're never going to be in a relax and digest state. And this is the optimal state for digestion. If you start eating a meal and you are extremely stressed, your body's not going to produce the stomach acid it needs, the enzyme it needs, the bile it needs. Therefore, you're going to get bloating. Therefore, you have now gut dysfunction. You have nervous system or stress induced gut dysfunction, which it's very common, right? People go down to eat, they're thinking about an email, they're thinking about watching TikTok, they're thinking about what talking to their family. They're not in a rest and digest state. And we're all vulnerable and we all do this, but we just have to be aware of it. And if you need any help with this, guys, just go to the top link in the description. I mean, there's a link there. You can learn a little bit more about what I do, how I help people, and you can book a discovery call, see if you're a good fit for coaching if you do need more support. The most important thing that you can do is let's just calm down the stress around meal times. That's going to be the most important thing that you can do. Now, of course, you have different aspects of the nervous system and stress. You have lifestyle induced. If you are having caffeine and doing HIIT workouts and doom scrolling TikTok and doing all these stimulating activities, that's going to cause your nervous system to maybe go out of balance. Maybe some trauma that needs to be addressed as well. So I mean, literally, trauma could be the whole reason that you're having gut issues, right? And maybe that's something that you need to personally work on. But if you can get all four of these in accordance, I genuinely believe it's very unlikely for 90+% of people you will no longer experience bloating. Okay. Now, I just want to comment on this last little thing here. I think there's a lot of products out there that say like this product, I don't even know, I just searched it up on Google. It's called Bloat Banisher. Now, bloat is a symptom. Bloating is a symptom. What we've discussed here is your root causes of bloating. Now, I want to encourage you to expand your mind, all right? Learn that there's something more going on. I want to make it very easy for you guys. We need to focus on the root cause, right? These companies and different people are going to give you solutions for the bloating, but why don't we give a solution of the actual root cause, which might be one of these? So even though this product is talking about bloating and it actually can help, I mean, the ingredients in here are actually pretty good. Like fennel, marshmallow root, this is all stuff that I'd say that is good for you, right? But let's say the root cause of your bloating is gut microbiome or dysbiosis. This product isn't going to do that. This product is just going to do some good stuff for giving you some relief, maybe some gut dysfunction stuff, maybe calming you down a bit. But if you took this product hoping to resolve your bloating, but you actually had dysbiosis, the bloating was caused by SIBO, this product isn't going to do anything. So what I encourage you to do is just fully understand what it is you're taking and what it is you're trying to do. Because does that make sense? I know you can't answer, but I'm trying to say let's treat the root cause. Let's not treat the symptom. A lot of the companies are saying, look, you're having this issue, just do this. But let's reverse engineer it. And this product could be good for you if you're dealing with specific things that these ingredients might help you with. But instead of just taking it and hoping for the best, let's dig a little bit deeper. And then if you know what's causing your bloating, then you can actually then use that knowledge to go forward and help you. Like if you know it's low HCl, then you can find products and ways to increase your HCl, and that's going to give you a higher likelihood of getting relief instead of just buying the next product that says it's bloating relief and it doesn't actually help you. Like, try to educate yourself a little bit, and hopefully this video does that for you. Now, again, as I mentioned a lot in my videos, I would just create a timeline. As I mentioned before with like antibiotics, and if that causes an issue, I would go back. Maybe you just had bloating your whole life, maybe, but maybe you started getting bloating in like 2021, and maybe you can say, oh, in 2021 I had that traumatic event, or I had that antibiotic, or I had that, I don't know, I had that food poisoning or whatever. Then you can maybe help decide which one it is. Either way, I think doing stuff to improve all four of these areas. This is what I do anyway. I do things every day to improve these four areas. I make sure my diet's on point. I do stuff to improve gut function, improve dysbiosis, nervous system. And if you do all four of this stuff, it's very unlikely that you'll get issues. But yeah, build a timeline, which I recommend every single person you do. Build a timeline of when you started getting issues, when does it get worse, what did you do around that time. Again, I have videos. If you go to, I'll maybe leave a link, but it's like my client framework. If you watch that video, it goes into more detail of possibly what things can cause it, a little bit more about building a timeline as well. But yeah, I hope that helped. Bye.